Fun Day with your boy Tenacious Dudley. I am here today on March the 13th. It is March the 13th, 2022. What are you doing to change your life? What are you doing to change your future? Being too cautious is the greatest risk of all. Make your dreams reality now. Time is the number one currency. Make sure you use it now. Without commitment, you will never start. More importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. Do more in this life. Welcome back to Building for Generations. We are here alive, present, and alive. We're here alive on our journey to 3,000 strong limitless business leaders who will stop at nothing with building wealth for themselves and their families. So we are here in the year of specialization for Dudley Accounting Services, year 2022, where we specialize in solving complex problems for real estate investing. So today we have a special guest today, and it's ironic how I met him. I think he appeared on my calendar one day. His name is Bryan Tecson, and you can kill me if I butcher your name, but I'll bring him on here in a bit. So we have him. He is a limitless, tenacious badass, and he's going to be sharing some info about flipping today. But most importantly, we do have a March 15 deadline for those of you guys who operate partnerships at 1065, or if you operate an S corporation at 1120S. The deadline is coming up in 2 days, March 15th. So go ahead and get that filed. Get on our calendar ASAP and get that filed. Or you can file an extension. It's very important that you go ahead and get that out of the way. So today we're going to have a conversation with Bryan. We're going to bring him on here, and he's going to share a bit of his experience in the flipping world, and also and just how he got started, because he's fairly new to the flipping game, and I haven't got into it yet. I'm in the short-term rental game, so I ran into him, and he definitely taught me some things that I definitely don't know about the flipping game. So let's go ahead and bring him on and welcome him in. What's up, Bryan?
Hey man, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to have you here, here with my Limitless Circle. We are Tenacious Badasses, and we only invite Tenacious Badasses into our circle to share with us their experience. So those tenacious people who are in real estate. So we have our little guide that we're going to go by just to keep us on topic. But go ahead and introduce yourself, if you will.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be in your podcast. It's awesome. So,
Yep.
I live in St. Charles, Illinois. I started real estate investing probably about 2 years ago. Right before pandemic is when I kind of started listening to podcasts and read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
And I would say, actually, I was kind of exposed to flipping with my father flipped a house in 2019. And I was kind of like an LP, like limited partner. I was just kind of learning it. I work full time as a nurse, been a nurse for 22 years now. So at that time, it was my 20th year as a nurse, and I was like, trying to look for something. And my dad, I saw him do the flip in Glendale Heights. And then my brother did it after him. My dad helped him also. He did a flip in Bartlett. It was like a small condo. And I saw how the process works and kind of like say, man, why don't I try this? So
Yeah,
that's
why
kind
don't I
of
do
when it
this?
started. Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I got exposed. And then, my dad and my brother, they always give me advices and, kind of guidance and
Exactly.
on what
So
to
that's
do. So,
definitely great. That's definitely something I definitely want to keep you close, keep you in my circle, because I don't know half the stuff that you know, and you definitely, showed me a lot of things that I didn't know about. And just having a good circle around you and people that have done it before is definitely essential. So I would say, like, what was, I guess, a good approach that you kind of figured, and you're still learning, you're still bumping your head against the wall and find out things. But what's like a good approach to rehabs and flipping properties, you would say? Because a lot of people are in the scared phase, right? Before I got my rental properties, I was like, oh man, I gotta go get a loan, and am I gonna get it in a good neighborhood? I was just fearful on taking action, right? What made you just take action, right? And what was like, okay, I got this, and I need to just do it.
Right. So yeah, that's a very good question. I just dove into it, but prior to that, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, bigger podcasts. There's a couple of podcasts that I downloaded and just basically listened to it. YouTube, watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to flip houses, and HGTV, man.
Yeah, HGTV
HGTV,
is
flip
like
or
crack.
flop.
I know what you mean.
But and then I just started looking at properties, analyzing deals. So basically, that's kind of like, number one is like Brandon Turner said, always first thing you got to do is learn how to analyze a deal, and then just dive into it. And that's pretty much how I started. First, I bought on my own. The first flip was in July of 2020, and then the second flip was November 2020. Uh, the first flip was in Hoffman States, and I got that through the MLS with uh, it was an REO property. And then the one that I bought in November was from my brother, wholesale. He wholesaled it to me.
He wholesales. Okay, what's the
Yeah.
REO? If for the people who are
Oh,
not as, what's
so it,
REO
it
type?
stands for real estate owned, which is basically bank owned. So it's
Okay,
a property that had already gone through foreclosure process, and now the property is now owned by the bank, and then the
yep,
bank puts it out on the market, in the MLS.
yep. That's where
And
I'm at right now. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, but prior to that, I've done a lot of offers prior to, my first deal under contract, and actually it closed on it, right? So I think I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad in January, and then started just indulged in watching videos and listening to
Yep.
podcasts for the next 2 months. So around April is when I started just making offers and reached out to agents, and just probably anything that I would see that I thought, man, maybe it's a good deal, I would just make an offer, and most of it don't get accepted because my
Yep.
offer
That's
is usually my offers were usually like, I follow the rule, ARV times uh 60%, you know, and then that's your kind of like your minus your rehab is equals
awesome.
your MOA, which is maxable, and max MAO, which is maximum allowable offer, right?
Okay.
That's kind of like how I analyze the deal is ARV times 60% minus rehab costs is equals to your maximum allowable offer. And
Now,
most numbers that, it's too low, like my agent's like, are you sure you want, this, it's almost 50% off what I'm asking,
yeah,
but
like you trying to get a big discount on these deals, so
right, right.
I get it.
And then as the market started heating up, I kind of bumped up instead of 60%, tried 65, 70, and then 75.
Okay.
So that deal I got in Hoffman, it was actually 75% is when I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my next question was going to be, but you pretty much explained it. Like, what was your parameters and kind of how did you gauge that? Because that's something I'm doing right now with building my accounting firm to where I can recreate myself, and people can serve as, real estate investors, and talk about tax, breaks and tax solutions for people. It's kind of like a work of art in a way that I'm figuring out how to go about the approach, how to approach rehabbing and everything like that. And having a good, parameters and good, way of approaching it is definitely essential. But the next thing that I think is kind of what not keeps me up at night, but it's kind of like keeping me not executing is finding good contractors, right? I know we talked before about, and I was in the pool doing get my swim on, and we had a brief conversation about his experience with contractors, and we can go in that a little bit, but having a good circle of people like your dad and your brother around you was good, but having good contractors who were going to be able to deliver and do the work, that's kind of essential. How did you go about finding your contractors? And talk to us a little bit about your hardships, because I know you have some.
Yep,
Like everybody
definitely.
does.
Yeah, man. Contractors, you can make it or break you, but definitely, I had a lot of challenges with contractors. With the first flip, uh, he probably did about 90% of the job and basically stopped showing up after I kind of almost paid him off.
Yeah.
Uh, Basically, the job just sitting, we had a deadline and he kept pushing back from the deadline. He would show up in the job and then not show up, and basically had multiple projects going on. And the money that I had paid him, he would use it for the other projects that he had going on. But this guy, I got him from the agent that I used to purchase the property. He said this
Okay.
guy's good. He's a flipper. Yeah, he's a contractor that flipped homes, many homes, and he sent me like addresses, right? The property that he had done, and they look beautiful. I mean, they did a good job. It's just that he couldn't keep, like, he couldn't stay within the budget, and then the time frame just keep pushing back, pushing back. So
Yeah.
eventually, I had to fire him and hired another guy. Uh,
Yeah.
and basically took over the GC job from him. And I hired another uh, contractor, but I had to hire a plumber, I had to hire an electrician, landscaper, like all the other stuff. But I hired one guy that would kind of finish up the interior, that whatever was left off. I had to
So with that,
coordinate
second
everything.
guy, did he know the electrician, plumber, and all that stuff? Because I know you say second guy, and he came in to clean, finish it up.
Yeah.
Um, was he able to have contacts with like electricians, plumbers, and stuff like that, or how did you source those people?
So he did. Um, he had some connections, but most of them didn't have licenses. So we pulled a permit from the city. We did
Mm-hmm.
electrical and plumbing permit, but and this is another learning experience. When I fired him, I told the city. So then whatever the plumber and electrician that the GC registered with the city, basically because I told them that I fired him, they took all that. So now I had to hire my own plumber and electrician, right? Which I had to find myself because the guy that I hired to finish up the interior, he knows how to do it, but they didn't have a license.
License. Okay.
They weren't licensed plumber, electrician. So I found the electrician from another investor that was recommended to me, and then the plumber. I just went through what was it? Um, Thumbtack, I think. Thumbtack.
Okay.
It's like Yelp, or it's like what's the other one? Like Angie's List kind of thing.
Okay. So
So
so so basically, what you're saying is you had a permit with the city to do this work with a GC, a general contractor already, and he was licensed and insured and all that good stuff. You fired him, but then you still had the open permit, and you wanted to get new people So, but you had to get the new people on that existing permit, right? But they had to be licensed
Correct.
and bonded and stuff. So that's where you kind
Yep.
of ran into where you used the new guy, the general contractor that was new guy, but he wasn't licensed. But you had to go do your own research to find people who are licensed and bonded, right?
Yes. And actually, after after all it's said and done, and I was looking at it, and I think if I would have just stayed with the original guy and just kind of probably be a little bit more patient, it would probably come out a little better. Uh, because man, so much stress going through, finding, uh, sourcing out the electrician and plumber and dealing with the city, and not, and the city was very picky about stuff. So we had a few, corrections and that we had to straighten out, and it took a
Okay.
while. It actually, from when I fired a guy in December, by the time we got the final approval, it was already like February.
Okay.
So it was pretty. It was
Time
like almost
extensive.
2 months. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, and then it cost me more money on as far as uh, buying more materials on my own now, and I
Yeah.
already had pay him. Already had paid him more, and
Mhm.
basically lost more money. So I think looking back, I would say, man, I should have just stayed with him. But it is what it is. You learn from it, and you just move on. You just keep fighting. That's
Yep. So
much
you get with a contractor, it's kind of like you marry the guy, in a way, or girl, whoever the contractor is, and
yeah,
it's better to to wait it out. But sometimes you gotta fire them, But
right.
it's kind of hard to kind of really get a good feel of a person, right? Because at first meeting somebody, you're like, oh yeah, you're great, like yeah, give me your money, right? I'm gonna do all the work in your house, and then they started to show their true colors. We had an insurance claim. We had a public adjuster come out because we had a leak in our roof. And that guy came out and was like, oh, yeah, we're going to do all this and we're going to get you the most money from your insurance, blah, blah, blah. After freaking 2 months of, not hearing from him, calling him, emailing stuff, oh, yeah, we'll be out there to do it. Nothing happened. So we ended up having to pay, $4,000 out of pocket just to get the roof fixed before the winter came. We didn't want, anything to happen to it. But you got to be careful on the people that you allow in. They could be smiling and waving at first, but then they can screw you. Because I think they need some time management on these general contractors and public adjusters. I don't know. They just got a lot of stuff going on and they don't really pay attention to their timeline in a way. So that's
Yeah.
definitely good. Another thing I wanted to touch on before we got out of here was kind of like your financing. How did you go about the hard money? That's on your first deal. You don't have to talk about your second one, but like your first one, how do you go about financing?
Man, I ran into some big trouble too. So my on the first deal, uh, I was looking for how am I going to fund it, and just kind of search online. And then my dad said, "Why don't you check this out?" He found this ad on Facebook. He's like, "Check it out, but make sure you do your due diligence and if they're legit or whatnot."
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. It sounded legit, but I didn't catch like this guy. I got scammed with this supposed to be a lender, but it was a bogus lender. It
Oh no.
actually
What's their
uh
name? Let's expose them. What's their name?
yeah,
That's what.
the name of the company is supposed to be NSB uh NSB 14 investors, something like
Okay.
that. It basically stands for New Smyrna Beach in New Smyrna Beach 14 investors.com. And supposedly it was like a private money lender. And I started looking at their website looked very legit. And when I called the number, someone would answer, and very strong accent, like like from Nigeria accent. But I didn't
Mm,
catch on. I thought it was just that's just normal.
yeah.
And I was so just focused on trying to get this deal done, and just at the same time, I even asked my attorney, "Do you think this is legit?" He's like, "It seems like it's all legit." And when he said, you got to pay appraisal and processing fee before I can start everything, and I sent the money over.
How much was the
And
processing fee? Just to give us
so
give us a
yeah,
big
so it was he charged $1,000 for appraisal and
Okay.
$1,500 for processing, like underwriting processing fees.
Yeah.
So $2,500 that I wired to him to Navy, what was that? Federal Navy
Navy
Credit
Federal.
Union, Navy
Okay.
Federal Credit Union in Florida, in like I think it was Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
And
Tampa.
then we were at the title company. I mean, we thought everything was legit, blah blah blah. And me and my attorney sat at the title company for like 8 hours, waiting for the money to come in, and it never came. That whole time we were trying to call him, he stopped answering his phone. The title company lady called him, never answered his phone, and basically that's kind of when we knew, man, we got scammed. And
Wow.
so and so my agent called, uh, the bank or the REO and said, there was a fallout, and I wrote a heartfelt letter to the REO and said, I don't want to lose the deal. I don't want to lose my earnest money deposit that I gave, which was $3,000. And I said, we're gonna keep looking. So then my agent referred me to a cross country mortgage, which is a conventional lender.
Okay.
Cross country mortgage. They're big chain, mortgage company. So the guy was able to help me out, but I had to put down 15% down, and it was like a non-owner investment loan, basically.
So it's an investment
So
loan, not owner occupant type of
right,
loan. Okay.
and they funded 85% of the purchase price, and I had enough money because I just did a home refinance, cash out refinance on my primary residence.
Person. Yeah, on your
So
person. Okay.
and I used that money to fund the rehab.
Okay.
So it would be a lot easier as far as getting the loan approved, because they were looking at, because it's a conventional loan, so they were looking at DTI
Yeah,
and
that's
credit
income.
score, just like, yeah, debt to income ratio, and then everything else. So they weren't, you know, they were stricter, a lot stricter than like a hard money lender or a private money lender. So,
Okay.
anyways, we were able to close that deal and then started working on the house. And then it took us, we closed on the house July. By the time it sold in March 11th, 2021. So we closed on it July 2020 and sold it March 2021. So it was like almost 9 months
Okay.
hold on the property. The good thing is, um, we had a big spread or margin on the project. So I didn't make much, but I learned a lot, right?
Oh
That was
yeah.
a big learning experience.
Yeah.
So my we bought it for 167, and initial budget for rehab was 60,000, and then our projected ARV was around like 290, 280.
Okay.
But the market really saved us because in 2011 or 2021,
Yeah. 2021.
the market was getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and it actually saved us because
Yeah.
uh, we actually modified the house. We added a full bathroom and like a master suite. We
Okay.
added a bedroom, a master suite. So it bumped up our ARV from 280. We projected like 320. So it actually sold at 325.
Nice.
But our budget gone up too, from a 60K budget went
Oh
up to
no.
92.
Yeah.
92. It
92,000
was like
renovation.
30. 30K, yeah, more. But the
Good.
house turned out really, really nice, and it sold in 2 days. Multiple
Wow.
offers, it
What
turned
was
out
it
really
like
nice.
going through that appraisal once you had it fixed up and everything like that? Because this is probably another probably bugging me is like once you get it all fixed up, you got to get it reappraised, right? You got to get it appraised by a bank so they can give you a cash out refinance so you can get all your money back, right? So what's it like? I guess when they go through your appraisal, you're kind of fingers crossed, hopefully appraised for what we estimate it to be. What's it like to go through that?
Yeah, so um, basically, you just kind of almost like guesstimate as far as what the recent comps that sold in the
Mm-hmm.
last, 3 months around the area, and that's kind of how you gauge where you're going to be at. Then you consider your finishes on the house, how nicer it is compared to the other homes that recently sold, and that's kind of how you gauge. So we actually sold it for 325, which was 5K above asking, and the the buyer's appraisal came back at 340. So there was actually enough room. Like we could have pushed the price higher, but I was like, that's fine, we just wanna get out. We held it to
Yeah, I
eight
get.
months. So a lot of learning
So
experience
let me
from
get
that.
this. So after you got the renovation done and everything like that, and you wanted to put it on the market, you didn't get it reappraised until the buyer came and did his
Correct.
appraisal. Okay, all
It
right.
was more
But
of the
typically,
agent.
typically you would get it appraised, right? Like say if you're doing a cash out refinance to get your money back, and you're done with the renovation, typically you would just go ahead and get the appraisal yourself and get it possibly financed by a bank to get your cash flow back. But you went through the method of getting the buyer straight ahead and getting the money that way. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So he just kind of, you know, it just a regular flip. Just after we fixed it up, we just put it back on the market without really hiring another, appraiser to appraise it before we, to kind of gauge where we were at.
Yeah.
So my agent just kind of did a CMA, which stands for comparative market analysis.
Yeah.
CMA is one of those things where the agent will look at same thing, what were the homes sold around the area in the last three months and what their finishes are, things like that.
Gotcha.
So from that CMA, we kind of gauge how we want to price it, and we priced it low so we can have more offers, which we did. And the first day when we put it out in the market, Thursday, we had 10 people showed up. Uh, like 1 hour after we put it on the market, there was showing hour after hour. There was showings, and then the same day we had 3 offers, like solid offers,
Nice.
cash offer, uh, above asking, and then asking, and they were all solid buyers. And we ended up going with the highest
Of
offer, and
course.
you know, so I mean, it was a great experience. And then I thought, I've learned from that, but no, I made it. I made the same mistakes on the second flip,
Yeah.
with the contractors again. But on the second flip, we used the hard money lender, uh,
Okay.
which actually cost more money to do a hard money lender rather than a regular conventional loan, because higher interest rates, and also um, their cost to borrow is more money than the
Yeah.
conventional lender. So
But I guess it's easier in a way the approval process than conventional. The conventional is a little bit harder to get the approval,
yes,
and the
yes,
hard money is easier in a way to get the approval.
yes. Hard
You were talking
money
about
just looks
the
looks at
SCR
the.
or something, or
So okay, so for the DSCR loan, which stands for debt service coverage ratio, is that's for rental properties that you're trying to acquire. Uh, Hard money lenders would look at what's the ratio of the rent versus
The debt servicing
the
process.
PITI, yeah, the
Yeah.
PITI, which is, stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So if a lot of lenders look at, if they usually like 1.3 or higher is kind of what, or some lenders are 1%, you know, uh, and you should be good.
Yeah,
So,
definitely, man. So we're definitely over our 30-minute mark. A lot of people on YouTube and on platforms don't have a long attention span. Me myself, I'm a fan of whole TikTok. I was on TikTok the other day and I have a plan there, but I know how it gets. But Bryan, we definitely want to have you on. As things unravel in your life, as you do more deals, we want to have you on again and share and give us an update on how you're doing and
yep.
what's going on with you. You've definitely been a valuable asset to us with your information. We definitely thank you for coming on. Any last minute things that you want to share with us before we get on out of here?
Well, thanks again for having me. And I just want to say, if you're scared, don't be scared. Have that. It's a mindset. A lot of it really is a mindset. Of course, you gotta have resources, but still, if if you have this self-limiting belief, that's just gonna shut you down. The door will close and you won't do anything. You just get stuck. And to me, all I did was just jump in,
Keep
just
going. Yeah.
keep going. You know, I could easily gave up when I got scammed by a lender. I could be done, man. I'm done. I make six figures at my
Yeah.
full-time job. I don't really need all this stress. But I said, no, I have a goal in mind. I want to reach it, and I want to keep pushing forward. And just keep pushing, and learn from
There
every
you go.
experience. So,
That's why
yep.
you are Tenacious Badass, and that's why I love to have met you, man. And we're going to do great things in this life together. Thank you again for
Thank you.
coming on. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yep. Sounds
All
great.
right,
Have
bro.
a great night.
Ciao. Thank you guys for watching another episode. I'm going to go ahead and share my website with you guys. Visit us at DudleyAccountingServices.com. Today is March 13th. Remember the deadline for the partnership tax returns at 1065, and also the deadline for the 1120S, the S corporations, is March 15th. So go ahead and get on our calendar here, guys. I'm not playing. Get on our calendar here. Set up a free 15-minute discovery call with us so we can find out if we're aligned and we can help you out. Definitely do that. And so we can get your extension file. If you need the file, we can possibly try to pull it off, but more than likely we are going to file you an extension, and that extension is going to push your due date to September 15th. So you got 6 months to complete your returns. But definitely go ahead and take advantage and get on our calendar at DudleyAccountingServices.com. And again, remain unstoppable. You tenacious badass. Peace.